Morning routine to mobilize the joints and strengthen the core. Start by lying down on your back. Plant your feet firmly on the ground and relax your arms by your sides. Now, many of us have a tendency to really lift our shoulders up, so take a few moments to really lengthen the neck here and stretch the hands down towards your feet. Keep your feet down, but lift and spread your toes and just wiggle your toes. And if you're not sure if that's happening, that's okay. Just give it a try. Try spreading your toes out and then pressing your toes down onto the ground. From here, we'll begin pelvic tilting. Draw your navel down to your spine, squeezing the abdominal muscles and drawing the top of the hip bones closer to the ribs. Gently release and allow your spine to resume neutral. We'll do 10 of these. Just getting things activated and going. So if you have tightness or soreness in the lower back, start out very, very small, just gently engaging the abdominal muscles. Once you get to 8, 10, 12 of them, you can slowly start to increase the range of motion by also engaging your back muscles and tilting your tailbone down towards the ground. So we're around 10 now. Go ahead and keep increasing the range of motion here. So what's nice is that we're activating the core muscles, getting them turned on, and we're also using the ground to massage the lower back. Now, if you have trouble getting out of bed in the morning or you have a very sore back, you could try this in bed. And it won't be as much of a massage, but it'll feel a little bit nicer as you're doing it. And it might help you just get the ball rolling so you can get up and get moving. Once you've completed about 20 of these, go ahead and extend your left leg out. Take a few more pelvic tilts here in this asymmetric shape. Allow this left hip to start to open and stretch. So if you feel your legs slowly shifting away from your head, that's perfectly fine. If nothing seems to be happening at all, that's okay too. Just keep trying. After about 10 of these, slowly draw your left leg in and extend your right leg out. Keep pelvic tilting, so keep engaging the core muscles and just take note and feel and sense what's going on here in the pelvis. What do you feel that's a little different on the right side or the left side? From here, slowly bring your right knee all the way up towards your chest. Take your hands to the back of the thigh and gently pull your right leg in. From here, rotate your ankle in a circle. Now, in order to really mobilize the joints, I want you to make a small enough circle that you don't feel or hear any snapping or crinkling or popping, even if that means you're going to draw the tiniest little circle ever, like 1 inch around. And as you do that and you find that smooth circle, then you can start to spiral it out bigger and bigger. Slow it down and reverse directions. And again, just really aim for circular and smooth here. There's no awards we're trying to win. This is not the biggest circle or the loudest crackling or popping. We want to keep it smooth and easy and just get the joints lubricated. We want to turn on your nervous system and tell it to send fluid into these joints to make it easier to move. We can do that nice and slow and small to start out. Gently place your right foot down and bring your left leg in. Again, grab the back of the thigh. Now, if you're just wanting to be even, you can keep switching the way you interlace your fingers. That'll just gently warm up your hands as well. And start that circular motion. I'm noticing that my motion is a little bit more like a trapezoid. So I want to make it even smaller and go a little slower until I can loosen up the joint. And I encourage you to do the same thing. Small, slow, steady. Just like practicing, right? First we have to practice slow and eventually increase our speed and maybe even our volume. Good. Take your time, slow it down, and then reverse. Again, looking for a silent or a very quiet ankle circling. So somewhere between 20 and 40 of these in each direction would be a good amount if you were counting on your own, if you're a counter. And gently place your left leg down. Bring your right thigh back in. Again, grab the back of the thigh. If you're interlacing, keep swapping the way you interlace. And then straighten your left leg out. And from here, what I want you to do is try to pull your knees apart from one another. So the left leg is moving down and the right knee is moving in. And you're really working on the stretch between the knees as opposed to trying to get your knee closer to your chest. Think about stretching the knees themselves apart. And this should increase the stretch across the groin and across the hip, as well as maybe the back of this leg. From here, now press your thigh into your hands until your arms straighten. Take 3 full breaths in this position. This can really help to align your hips and your back. Gently release your right leg, put your foot down, and draw your left knee up into your chest. Again, switch the interlace of the fingers, and then slowly slide your right leg away from your left. Again, focus on the stretch from right knee to left knee and left knee to right knee. Try to relax your face, your neck, your jaw, your shoulders. And then activate your leg by pushing your left thigh into your hands until your arms are straight. And take 3 full breaths here. Release your left leg down and straighten both legs. And we'll take a round of pelvic tilts with straight legs now. Once again, make sure that the shoulders are away from your ears and the neck is nice and long. Draw the navel towards the spine and pull the front tips of the hips towards the ribs. And then release. Now, if you've got a tight lower back, maybe you're working on just this front engagement. As you get more mobile and more strength, you can squeeze both the front muscles and the back muscles. Take 10 to 50 of these, depending on your time and how it feels in terms of mobility. On a nice big inhalation, stretch the arms up overhead. Take a long body stretch, reaching through the fingers and the toes. You can even wiggle or stretch a little side to side, whatever feels good here. Then bend your elbows and bring your arms into what I like to call goalposts or a bent elbow shape. Now, some of us may not have the ability to get our shoulders, elbows, and all 10 fingernails onto the ground, but do your best to try to get all those body parts to touch. Gently bring your feet back onto the ground, knees up to the sky, and then take your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Slowly drop both legs over to the right and over to the left, starting to loosen up more parts of the torso and the hips. And depending on where you feel tight, you may feel stretch in the back, in the front, on the inner thighs, the outer thighs. Do your best to keep that goalpost shape with the arms. If that's too uncomfortable, you can release and bring the arms down. But over time, try to work it so that you can keep the arms like this. Slowly drop both knees over to the right and hold here. Take a deep breath in and really fill the left side of the body. Try to stretch into the left rib cage all the way down to the bottom ribs, right near the hip. Take one more full breath here. On an inhale, bring your knees up and then over to the left. Take a big breath into the right rib cage, all the way down to the bottom ribs, right near the hip. Take one more full round of breath here. Inhale, draw your knees back up, and then bring your knees all the way up towards your chest. Grab the back of the thighs and rock a little bit more side to side. So again, we're using the ground or the surface beneath us to our advantage, helping to both cradle and massage the lower back some more. It may feel good to actually make circles or roll forward and back. So this can be a little free form here. If you're noticing, it feels a little good on that one side, you can kind of hang on to it and breathe and just pay attention and notice what you're feeling. Gently bring your feet back down and extend your left leg up towards the sky. Do your best to stretch the back of your knee as much as possible and then pull your toes down towards your face. Now your leg might be straight just like this, or it might look something like this. It doesn't matter what it looks like, but what we're looking for is the sensation of stretch along the back of your leg and the sensation of engagement along the front of your leg. Take 2 more breaths here, really working this leg as straight as possible, which doesn't mean it needs to be straight. Just as much as you can, and then exhale, bring it back down. Take a full round of breath here. On your next inhalation, stretch your right leg up. Again, try to stretch the back of your knee and pull your toes back down towards the ground, engaging the quadricep. Remember, your leg might look like this, it might look like this, it might look like that, but what you're doing is you're trying to stretch out the back of the leg here and engaging your leg muscles and your core muscles to hold it up. Take one more full round of breath. And then exhale, release. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh now and actively push your thigh, your left thigh, away from your shoulders, away from your chest. This is going to open up the hip a little bit more. Now you have a choice. You can just stay here like this, or you can try a few little pelvic tilts, seeing if that helps continue to loosen up the hips. There's a choice, or you can do a little bit of both. Good. One more breath here. Release and we'll switch. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Again, with your own leg muscles, push your thigh away from your shoulder or your knee away from your chest. Optional pelvic tilts here, or just work on holding the stretch. Remember that when you're holding a stretch, not holding your breath. So breathe through the stretch as you do it. On an inhale, lift out and release. Straighten your right leg all the way down. Pull your left knee up to your chest, and then with your right hand, grab your outer left thigh and pull your knee across. Now, this could be a glute and leg stretch, or it could be a back stretch, or it could be both. Usually, the more you let your hip come up off the ground, the higher up the stretch will climb. If you try to keep your hip low, this will be more in the glute and hip region. So feel free to explore how far over feels really good to you. And remember that as you're exploring, you're breathing and not holding the breath. If you want to increase the stretch even more, you can take your arm back into that goalpost shape and try to press all your 5 fingernails down into the ground. Take one more breath here. Gently untwist, and then just roll your hip and your leg and shake it out a little bit. Straighten the left leg out, pull your right knee up towards your chest. With your left hand this time, grab the outer thigh and pull it across your body. Now, you might have enjoyed a hip stretch on one side, but need a little bit more of a back stretch on the other side, or vice versa. And this is very common if you're doing a lot of asymmetrical activity and you're using one side of your body to do different things than the other. So don't worry if this isn't exactly perfect on both sides. Just listen to what your body is asking for or what it's telling you it needs. And then be very nice and breathe into it. Breathe into the stretch that you feel and allow the body to slowly unravel. Again, if you want to increase the stretch, you can take that goalpost shape with your right arm, pulling that all the way across the entire side of the body. Take one more full round of breath here. Gently release and rotate the hip around, shake out the knee, shake out your leg. Let's take one of those long body stretches one more time. Spread the fingers, spread the toes, reach out, take a full breath in. And then as you exhale, draw your knees into your chest. And slowly roll over onto your side and all the way onto your front. From here, we'll work on the Sphinx. So bring your elbows either directly under your shoulders, or if that doesn't feel so good, you can walk your hands a little bit further in front of you, and they'll have less of an angle at both the shoulder and the elbow. Now, whether you have your elbows directly under your shoulders or a little in front, we want to line up the forearms parallel to one another. So the distance between your elbows and the distance between your wrists should be the same. Spread your fingers wide and use this as an opportunity to stretch out your hands. Now, just explore a little bit of pelvic tilting here. Draw the navel into the spine and tilt the tailbone down, and then reverse. Do that a couple of times. And to reduce crunching in the lower back, you'll want to do a little pelvic tilt. Draw the navel in and point the tailbone down. Push the ground away and stretch the spine up. Take 2 to 5 breaths once you're set. Gently release and turn your head to one side with your hands back to stretch your neck. Inhale, lift your head up and stretch the other side of your neck. Inhale, look forward. Option to repeat the Sphinx or to take this to the next stage. Tuck the toes under, bend your knees, and prepare for a plank. So for a plank, we are going to want the elbows right underneath the shoulders, forearms parallel. You'll stretch and extend one leg back, stretch and bring the other one to meet it, and then hold here. Again, you can do anywhere from 2 to 50 breaths, holding that plank position. Remember that you don't have to do a plank. You can repeat the Sphinx, Or you can repeat neck stretches, whatever would feel good to you to help you get worked in, motivated, engaged, feeling your strength and feeling your mobility. Once you're done with your plank, lower your knees, take the knees apart and your feet together, and stretch your hips back towards your feet. Now, your hips may or may not go all the way back, and your head may or may not come all the way down. But just work the arms here and work the hips to stretch it out. Take 2 to 10 breaths here. This is called child's pose. And once complete, make your way to a seat. And then move on to the next part of your day. This should help mobilize your spine, your hips, and stretch out your legs. It's great for waking up, great for cooling down, great really for any time.